Hello, hello. How you doing? MegaCon Orlando, what's up? My name is Tanner. This is the last day of the con. Oh, that's sad, right? But you know, I think we've saved the best for last, right? I mean, Stephen Amell has been kicking butt in literally everything that he does. He's kicked butt in Arrow, of course. He's kicked butt in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know if you saw this, but he kicked butt in the American Ninja Warrior course, which was amazing. He's kicked butt in the ring, and he's kicked butt in the whole crowdfunding game, because I don't know if you know about this, but a couple years ago, Steven and his cousin Robbie made a short called Code 8, and they put it up online, hoping to get $200,000 to make a feature film, and thanks to all you guys and all the fans, when they closed it, it was at $1.5 million. And yeah, it was incredible, right? I actually got to go to the set of the movie when they shot it in Toronto, so make sure you ask him about it because it looked absolutely incredible. So before we bring him out, let's give you a little preview. Take a look at some of his work.
Understand the kind of man you are. Shouldn't take you very long. I'm shallow. Casey Jones. I got an idea. Why don't you let me shoot that thing, and you can go pick up the bloody, dead, disgusting animal. If you kill my son, I am never going to be the person you want me to be. I am the Green Emperor.
Everybody, make some noise for Stephen Amell.
Oh man, all I could see from my entrance was an empty row. Where the hell is everybody? How you doing, guys? Are you feeling like I'm feeling? Because I've been here for a while. How's everybody doing? Everyone's good? Kind of nice weather here. How many people are local to Florida here? Nice. Excellent. My mother-in-law lives here. There was no follow-up to that, it was just an observation. We come here and she spoils my daughter, and I come back and my daughter says stuff like, "My wand chose me." And I'm like, super duper. Sorry I'm late also because, I don't know if you guys knew this, before I did Arrow, I used to work for HBO. So I just watched the Game of Thrones finale. Wanna know how it ends? Neither do I. Stay off Reddit. I said that earlier. Stay off Reddit. All right. You know what? Let's do some questions, guys. Let's get after it. I don't know where are there microphones? Oh yes. Okay. Well then line up. And I don't know how kids get to the front of the line, but they always do. And it's okay. We'll take some questions. We'll do as many as we can, and let's have a good time. Let's go with you first, young man.
What was your hardest stunt in Arrow?
My hardest stunt ever in Arrow? You saw when I fell off the mountain? That was me, I did that. No, maybe my hardest stunt. Oh boy, I don't know. That's a great well, at the top of the second season, I swing down off this tree to rescue Felicity off of a landmine. And they wanted to have a stunt person do that, and I said, I don't think so. And I went up there, and once I got up there and I got perched up there, I realized that I had made a terrible mistake. But I couldn't let anyone know that I had made a terrible mistake, and I had to do it. And The stunt in and of itself wasn't that difficult, but they let me swing down, but then they overreacted and they hit this brake that they had on the line. Just let me swing, guys, just let me swing. The hard part is over. And when they hit the brake, the line hit me in either my left bicep or my right bicep, and then I went to Comic-Con the next day. So if you see photos of me from, I think, my second Comic-Con that I was at, it looks like the Night King gripped my biceps. It looks very strange. That was pretty tough. Good question. Good start. I like where we are. Yes.
When you were in Arrow and you were jumping the bar.
The salmon ladder.
Yes. How
Don't
hard
ask me
was
if it was
that?
real. Don't ask me if it was
How
real.
hard was it?
It's easier than it looks, because it looks hard. I did a stunt in the second episode that was way harder, but didn't look interesting at all. And no, it's more of a rhythmic thing. Also, you have to get used to it because you could always miss when you remove the bar from the one area and then place it on the next area. No, it's tough, but it's more of a rhythm thing, for sure. You should try it. How many chin-ups can you do?
15.
15? Then you can do the salmon ladder.
No, I can't. I'm sitting in a wheelchair.
So?
Thank you.
No, but really, man, and I know you're going back, but if you can do 15 chin-ups, you can do the salmon ladder. Where do you work out? YMCA? Where? Here? Okay. Have you ever been somewhere where there's a salmon ladder?
I have not.
Okay, well, what you should do is you should go to a free running gym or look into some spot that has a salmon ladder and go and say the guy that did the salmon ladder on TV that made it like 5% more famous said I should come here and that I can do 15 chin-ups, which means that I can do the salmon ladder, and have someone show you the technique, because all it is a slightly rhythmic chin-up. That's it. If you can do 15 chin-ups, if you can do 5 chin-ups, you can do the salmon ladder. So do it. I can barely see you, but you look fantastic.
Thank you. There are worse things to be turned into than stone. Name one.
Granite?
Oh, not a stone.
How do you mean? Okay. By the way, we didn't have to turn up the lights. It was just backlit. It's fine. I liked it before. It was much more moody. Worse things to be turned into than stone. Man. Someone that complains about season 8 of Game of Thrones? I'm really happy with that answer. Yes.
Hi. What's your favorite story to tell about being on set?
My favorite story to tell about being on set? Well, first of all, it's been a while since John Barrowman had a new story about me. But get ready for his next panel, because it happened this morning. Not my story to tell. He should be ashamed of himself. My favorite story to tell about being on set? Oh man, I'm just really glad that the video evidence of Melissa Benoist falling asleep came out online. If people aren't familiar, we were filming the crossover and we were filming the scene where Evil Oliver is with Evil Kara and with Reverse Flash, and she's supposed to be near death and basically unconscious, and then we're supposed to have this dialogue and she's supposed to wake up. And we're deep into the crossover at this point. And she used the opportunity to lay in a state of near unconsciousness to fall asleep. And we go to wake her up. And not wake her up, but we say the line that's supposed to cue her to open her eyes, and we realize she is dead asleep. And the cameras are rolling. And someone rushed on, like an assistant director, rushed on to try to wake her up. I go, no. And we made sure that the cameras were pointed at her. And then Tom Cavan and I made up a song, which in and of itself, personal highlight. And woke her up, and she opens her eyes and she goes, "Oh!" Blank. And then she laughed. It's a really highly enjoyable YouTube clip. Just type in Stephen Amell, Melissa Benoist, asleep, which, you know what, that sounds wrong. Melissa Benoist, crossover, asleep. Do that, it's good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What's up?
Hi, Steven.
Hi.
My question is, if you had to be handcuffed to any other Arrowverse actor for 48 hours, who would you pick and why?
Do I have to answer this now? Oh my God. Colin Salmon. He played Walter Steele in season 1 and season 2 because everyone else would be panicked, like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And he would say something to the effect of, Stephen, just lean right up against me if you need to sleep and if you need to be regaled with tales of fitness and fortitude. I'm here and I know a wide array of jokes and we're in this together, and the better and the brighter. And I'd be like, all right, Colin, whatever. And we're hand in hand to each other. I'm hungry. Wait, well, I'm a sous chef. Okay. So I pick him. Hi.
My question is, I've seen videos and stuff of you guys doing lots of pranks on the cats, behind the scenes.
Really, like what? I've never pranked anybody.
Well, you getting pranked, but...
Sure.
Anyway, I was wondering what your favorite, prank or joke or whatever to happen on set.
I think one of my favorite things is we have a crew member named David Wesley Kyle, and this isn't a prank. This is my favorite running joke because it started in season 1, episode 3 or something like that. David Wesley Kyle, we call him DW. He works in the camera department. He has, I don't know if he's ever operated, but he pulls focus and just in general has been a mainstay on set since 2012. And one of the first times that I ever joked with the crew, because I was very, very intense when I started, because I was terrified, was we were about to shoot a scene in Oliver's bedroom, and he was, I think, operating on B camera, and he was putting in the slate. So, A camera, slate, B camera, slate, and he had to get out of the room, but he didn't know where to go. He should have just opened up the door, closed it, and walked out, but he panicked. Okay? So instead of walking out of the room, he goes into the corner of the room and stands there like this with his face facing the wall. Except what he didn't realize was that he was directly in my line of sight. And I go, hey man, DW, you gotta get out of there. You look like the kid in the Blair Witch Project. And I can't handle what's going on. And to this day, that makes most of the crew laugh really hard. So then we became friends because we make fun of it. Every day that he sees me, he goes, oh my God, it's Stephen Amell, like that. And now, he went from DW to D-Dubs. And then I joked that, I said, D-Dubs, you hear the news? He goes, what news? I go, about the CW. He goes, no. I go, they're changing the name from CW to C-Dubs. So now there's D-Dubs on the C-Dubs. And someone in the sound department, Steven, another guy, Steven, we call him Stubbs because he's 6'7", and also that's his last name, made this shirt with my face and his face, and it says D-Dubs on the C-Dubs. And I want to wear it, But there's also that line of demarcation when you wear a shirt with your own face on it. But that has brought me joy every day that he is on set since 2012. Thank you. If anyone is recording this and got that, please parse it and put it on YouTube and call it DW on the CW. Just so I can send it to him and ruin his hiatus. What's up, man?
Hello again, Stephen.
Hello.
Before I get to my question, I just want to say congrats on having your first and second singles match with Christopher Daniels last year at the All
Thanks,
In
man.
event.
A lot of wrestling fans here. I was
20
here.
years.
I was here when WrestleMania was here. I guess it was 2 years ago, and then it's gonna be in Tampa this
Yes.
April, right?
Yes. 20
Might
years.
be there, unemployed.
Yeah. 20 years I've been watching. 20 years I've been watching right now. But the question I was going to ask you, with Cody Runnels developing AEW, All Elite Wrestling, and the history that you two have, is there any chance that you're going to be making an appearance in AEW when it fully debuts?
Yeah. For those of you who don't know Cody, who was one of the prisoners on Arrow this year, oh my God, what is his character name? Samson.
Samson.
Is that right? Say it again?
Samson.
Yeah, like I said. First of all, it's amazing to work with Cody because, you know, as much of a fan of wrestling as I am, he's a fan of acting, and really threw himself into the idea of being a part of this and having him up there. We didn't get to hang out as much as I wanted because I'm obviously very busy when I'm up there. But having him up there was great, and if you don't know, he started All Elite Wrestling, which is a new promotion. It's going to be on TNT's. When's it start? This fall?
It's like October, I think it is.
Yeah, this fall.
Yes. I'm saying the month.
And anyway, they're doing an event, but I'm not going to be doing any wrestling until. Is my wife here? I'm not going to be doing any wrestling, honey. No, I might do something again with them, but not until I'm done the show because I don't want to have to send. I had to send an email to Greg Berlanti, who is the most prolific producer in the history of television at this point. Mark Guggenheim, who's one of our executive producers. Beth Schwartz, who is our showrunner this year. Todd Pitson, who is our production manager, James Bamford, who is our producing director and the director of episode 707, because right before episode 707, I wrestled Christopher Daniels and I fractured my hip. And there was nothing to be done. It couldn't get any worse, it could just not heal as fast. And we had to do the most stunt-heavy episode in the history of the show. And so I had to send a note going, I know I'm an idiot. Don't treat me any differently. This is on me. Apologies. And I don't want to have to send that note again. So until I'm done with the show, I'm going to stay out of the squared circle.
I'd say it was an honor to meet you here at MegaCon. Thank you. Good luck on those 8th and final season of Arrow, and enjoy the rest of your day here at MegaCon.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Which brings me, I haven't actually had a chance to speak publicly since, like in a forum like this, since we announced that that the upcoming 8th season of Arrow is going to be the last season of the show, and. Yeah. And also, I apologize, but I assume at a certain point we will get into questions about the show, and if you're not up to date, the exit signs are marked appropriately. But this is actually, I really appreciated this weekend. You know, people saying, thank you for the run, we're sad that it's going, and the fact that you guys are sad that it's going doesn't make me happy, but to me it also reaffirms that we're probably doing this at the right time. I think, I hope. It feels right for me, and I hope that we get to do it justice towards the end. I think that we will. But I've appreciated all the sentiments. They've made me feel very happy. So thank you guys for that.
Well, kind of along those lines, I wanted to thank you very much because I love Arrow. It's one of my favorite shows ever, and I cried a lot on the season finale. So just so you know. And one of the questions is that what has been the most challenging scene to film in the entire show, whether physically or emotionally?
Well, I mean, physically the most challenging scene was the fight with Ra's al Ghul in sort of a tie between the fight between Ra's al Ghul on top of the mountain in season 3. That was very, very physically challenging. The scene where Prometheus tortures Oliver was also very, very challenging because I had to be in real cuffs for that to happen because I had to be able to lunge against them. And there was no way to shoot that day other than to just put me in the cuffs and put me on the ground and just leave me there. Because the process of taking them, putting them on and taking them off, it was just like, no, guys, I actually purposely stayed in them, A, so that I became ornery, and B, so that everyone would hurry the F up. And then I think there have been 2 scenes in the series. My last, not my last scene, but the last bit of dialogue between Oliver and Felicity, and my last bit of dialogue between Oliver and Moira, where you have to work really hard to make sure that your emotions in the moment and your friendships with those 2 people, not the 2 characters, don't get in the way of how the scene is actually supposed to go. That was very challenging.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who just found out that it was was it you? Sorry. just what, you get to go to the front of the line and ask a question.
Sorry, my son has said something about it, but I was hoping that it wasn't true. And I've seen you twice since I've been here. And like I said, my son said something about it, but I was hoping it wasn't true because I really love watching you on screen.
Oh, thank you.
But I do have one question for you.
Okay.
The first season, when you first came back, and you started doing the whole Green Arrow thing, and you were sneaking off, and you weren't going to tell anybody, how did you end up telling, like, Felicity and your bodyguard? I can't think of his name right now.
Diggle, yeah. Well, for a variety of reasons. One, you can only do voiceover for so long. You guys get that, don't you? No, I mean, you have to let people in. You have to let people in on the secret. I mean, one of my favorite YouTube clips is Oliver's quote-unquote secret identity, and it just details all the different times that he reveals himself to people. And it's got the counter, and every time it goes, bing. That's also a fantastic YouTube clip. But yeah, you gotta reveal, because it creates a much more cool narrative, and you get to interact with people. Like, how do I interact? How do I build my friendship with Diggle, with Felicity, with all the other hundreds of people that I've told? And then when I outed myself publicly, which again, if it's a spoiler for you, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
But
I do
you gotta...
have one more question, though.
Okay, yeah.
How, in the series, how did you feel when you found out that Sarah was actually still alive?
I mean, I love that. I thought that was very cool. It was one of my favorite memories is that when she comes back to Star City, I figured that the biggest story point right there would be that she wouldn't want to reveal herself to her dad, right? And so I'm like, well, that'll take like 5-6 episodes. It took like 3 acts. And then all of a sudden she's revealing herself to her dad, and I thought, man, that's really cool. And then I asked Greg Berlanti, who oversees all the shows, about that. I said, why did you guys make the decision to do that so quickly? And he goes, because you have a hit television show until you don't have a hit television show. So you go. and you just press on. Thank you.
Not a problem. I'm sorry I...
No, don't worry about it. I loved it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, yes.
Hey Steven, my name is Matt, and I want to say it's such an honor to be able to speak to my favorite hero. Like, it started as being a fan of the show, and it just turned out being a fan of you in general.
Oh,
and
thanks, man.
while it's very sad to say goodbye to the show, I do respect the decision because you are an actor, you've done this for years, and you do have a family of your own, you know, to give time to them. So I do respect the decision of whoever made it.
Thank you.
But my question is, we are seeing the last of Arrow, and yes, we know that Earth One's Oliver Queen is dying. But in the future, will we see a different Earth version of you?
I mean, look, I said this when I put the video up announcing that we were going to wrap up the show. Which again, I do want to spend more time with my family. Hi, sweetheart. But that wasn't the critical factor. The critical factor is that I think ultimately, if you were to ask the people that were involved in Arrow, like, how long should it go? The answer would have been 5 years, right? You would have told the flashback story and you would have concluded the story as you caught up in the flashbacks to where you began the series. That's the best synchronicity of the whole thing. That's not the way that network television works. We kept going. And I feel like we had a year that was, I wouldn't call it in limbo, but I thought it was a good season. But we knew during that season, we made the decision that either season 7 or season 8, we were gonna wrap it up. And I feel like writing for the end game, no pun intended. I have a funny story about that, which I'll tell you in a second. Was going to make the show sharper. And, you know, for me, it was just very important to, you know, go out strong. And when I did the video announcing that we were gonna wrap things up, I said, I might be leaving the show, but no one's ever really gone. And look, I owe so much to, in no particular order, the CW, to Warner Brothers, to Greg Berlanti, to David Nutter, to Andrew Kreisberg and Mark Guggenheim, to Beth Schwartz, James Bamford and Todd Pitson and JP Finn and cast and the crew and everyone. I owe so much to them. So if 5 years from now they're wrapping up show X and they go, you know what would be the cherry on top of the sundae? Would you come back? What am I gonna say? No. I mean, if it's a shitty idea, then I'd say no. Part of my language, but you do what you can. I owe a lot to people, and if they need something from me, they can always have it. Now, we were doing the screening for Code 8, which was mentioned before, this movie that my cousin and I did, which I think came out really great. Someone in here must have seen it. Can you put your hand up? It's not bad, right? Okay. It's a real movie. But I was at the LA premiere, and it was the night, I want to say April 26th, it was the night that Endgame came out, right? So there were 2 premieres in Los Angeles, Code 8, and this Marvel movie. And anyway, I'm with a bunch of fans, and I'm a big fan. I loved Infinity War. I watched all the Marvel movies. I love Tony Stark. I love so many of the characters. I thought, like, I love them. I'm in awe of what they've done over the past however many years. It's like 20 movies or whatever it is, like unprecedented. 20. Sorry. 22. 22. Never happened before. Maybe never happen again. Because you can't duplicate it, because it grew organically, and I'm a giant fan, tell no one. And I knew for a fact that I was not going to have the time to see Endgame for several weeks, and I knew that it would get spoiled for me. So I'm standing with this group at the after party, and I go, you guys all seen Endgame? And they're like, yeah. And I said, how does it end? And now I'm not gonna tell it. I'm not gonna spoil it off. No, I wouldn't. No. Hey, no spoilers. But the guy goes, hey, I can't tell you that. I go, no, I don't think you understand. I'm asking you. He goes, but I can't. I go, but you can. And he goes, why do you want to know? And I said, well, A, it's not going to affect my ability to enjoy the movie. What's going to happen is I'm going to be scrolling through my Instagram and I'm going to see a Boss Logic post, or I'm going to be scrolling through my Twitter and someone's going to make a joke and I'm going to know how it ends. So don't tell me all about the movie, but if you have to sum up the ending in 20 seconds, tell me. And he goes, are you sure? And I go, yeah, man, tell me. And he told me and I go, okay. And sure enough, within like 10 days, and now they're even airing a commercial being like, we know you've all seen it, so here's a bunch of spoilers. And anyway, I'm glad that I did that. You should try that. If you know that you're not gonna be able to see a movie, or not, fine. Maybe I'm weird, that's okay. Yes. Hey.
I know you do most of your stunts.
As many as I can.
Yes.
More than they would like.
So I was wondering which stunt was your favorite to do in front of the camera?
My favorite stunt to do in front of the camera was the first day of filming. It was when Oliver is being interrogated in the pilot by those guys in the Skeletor masks, and he flips up the chair and murders one immediately, and then murders the second one, and then starts chasing after the third one. And so there was that sequence. That was fun. And then there's a sequence where he like parkours on the roof, and it's this simple thing. It's called a Kong jump, and they set it up for me, and it really couldn't be any simpler. But you get like a little bit of air, and it just the fact that they were able to roll on it, and the fact that you could see that it was me, I feel like A, that was fun to do because fun. I was 30 then, and B, because like it lent a air of legitimacy to the show that I think helped propel things forward. That was fun. So
I liked the line when Slade Wilson calls Oliver kid, and I was wondering if there are any favorite lines from the series that you like that are your favorite or endearing to you.
Well, I mean, like the whole "you have failed this city" thing. I know that. Oh, great! I also like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches too. I think like the fact that like when people come up to me and they want something personalized and they want me to write a line, 99 times out of 100 they want to say like "you have failed this city," which I think is a really cool line. And apparently people say it to each other in their homes all the time. But funny story, I'm pretty sure the Kid and Slade saying that, I'm 99% positive, was a complete main event ad-lib. It was never in the script that I was supposed to be called the Kid. But he enjoyed it. Thank you. Yes?
And hello first, and I just wanted to ask, since season 8 is going to be the last season, are you directing one of the episodes for season 8?
No, I'm not. I've been offered to direct it since I think about season 5. I've been much more interested in promoting directors both on our crew and our cast. And I've actually fought a lot to maximize the time that I get away from the show by packing in my work time, which is to say that as opposed to working sporadically for 5 days, I'd rather work nonstop for 4 days and have the 5th day off. And directing requires an incredible time commitment. So it always felt a little bit counterintuitive to A, be asking for time off, but then B, asking to direct. We have a great stable of directors for season 8, especially because it's a limited run of episodes. And we have a new cast member directing, but that's not my news to share.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just horribly tall.
You're just sitting around waiting for the Smallville panel. I get you. It's okay. Is it perfect now?
No, I'm still bending my knees.
What's up, man? I can hear you.
So, with the last season coming up, can we expect any returns from any characters like Thea, Malcolm Merlin, anything like that?
Sure.
Also, one more thing. My brother Daniel wanted to come and meet you, but he got into a car accident. And
Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine.
Good.
But is there any chance I could film you saying his name and you have failed this city, or?
What, do you say Nathaniel or Daniel?
Daniel.
Daniel. Yeah, of course, man. Just stop filling with the microphone. I'll do it. As you're getting that ready, there is I have gotten a bunch of text messages because I know what I pitched for season 8, and I know some discussions that we've had, but I haven't actually had I know that it's been officially pitched to the studio and the network and that they're very happy, but I haven't had my sort of sorted out call with Beth, our showrunner, talking about what they pitched and how they pitched it. It's not obviously exactly what's gonna happen, but I have gotten a bunch of text messages from people being like, super pumped, see you soon, and I'm like, what? So, that's gonna be exciting. All right, hey Daniel. Not because of the car accident, and I hope that you're good, and I'm glad that you're okay, but you have failed this city. What's up?
Okay, so obviously you and Oliver Queen are very different people, but are there any times where you go home?
Like in what way? Let's start with murder.
Yeah.
Let's start with murder.
Yeah, that would be one way.
Wait a minute, what's the sign for murder?
But are there any times where you go home and you are kind of acting like Oliver Queen? I guess this could be more of a question for your wife.
Which is nice. Yes.
My question was, what was your favorite crossover to ever do?
Elseworlds this year. Yeah. When I first saw this, first of all, playing the Flash was super cool. Tell no one. And by the way, it takes, according to Grant, it takes about 3 weeks to break in a suit. I broke in the suit on the last day. God dang it. Oh man. Whew. But I loved it, and I remember watching there's something called a network cut. So before you guys see the show, there's a cut that is a cut being an edit of the show that's probably a couple minutes longer than what you see, and it's missing a bunch of stuff. It's missing the sound, the score. It's missing a lot of the effects, which actually kind of makes it funny to watch because it'll say temp VFX and it'll be stick figures shooting around, stuff like that. It's missing the color correct. It's missing a bunch of stuff. So you have to really focus on the performances. And when I was watching it, when we go to Smallville, or when we go to get Kara from Earth 38, and it clicks over to the opening montage of Smallville, and it clicks over to the theme song, I thought for sure that was just a joke that they made in the temp. And I texted the producer, I go, that's so funny that you guys put the Smallville theme song in there. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, well, it's for the temp, right? Because I literally watched a network cut of Arrow where they, like, in the early days, where they would cut in Dark Knight score into the fight scenes. Gotta put something in there. Nowadays, we have so much stuff from Blake Neely and his team that we can put our own stuff in there. But he's like, no, it's the Smallville stuff. And I go, really? I was so excited. I mean, that whole crossover, and I think going into this year, the fact that we were able to do a crossover that was effectively the prologue to Crisis on Infinite Earths was really cool. Really cool, yeah. Hey, you.
Are they gonna let you keep your suit?
Can someone repeat that to me? Do they let me keep my suit? Why, do you want it? No. That they know of. If you think that I'm not walking out of there with a version of every single suit, just so that on my 40th birthday, on my 50th birthday, on my 60th birthday, on my 70th birthday, on my 80th birthday, that's probably good enough. So that I can try it on and make sure it fits, you're out of your minds. Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
So is there any storyline or story arc that you never got to do as Oliver Queen that you as an actor would like to have been able to do?
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us about it?
I've tried to. I pitched an episode for season 8 that I thought I've always wanted to do a departure episode, and by departure I mean departure from the typical theme. We did it a little bit this year with the 150th episode where we had the documentary, we had stuff directly to camera. I thought that was really well executed. Personally. Maybe you think different. I don't know. But I additionally thought that we could have gone like 100% further, right? So I pitched an idea for an episode this year that, man, I really hope that we really go for it, because one of the things that I think that we've earned, we've done 160 episodes and we've got 10 more, and I feel like, according to Beth, we got very, very little feedback from the network this year in terms of notes, or the studio in terms of notes. And to me, it's just like, just give us one episode and let us do whatever what we want. And I think it would be really fun. I think the fans would really appreciate it, which is ultimately what's most important. I think it would be really cool, which again, that's kind of what's most important. And I just hope that it comes out of nowhere and it wallops people over the head in a very gentle, subtle way. But that's the thing that I wanted to do. Just basic departures. I mean, I love network television. I'm here because of network television. But there are constructs to network television that are sometimes a little bit frustrating. You have 6 outs and 6 ins. You have to have your prologue, you have to have your credits, you have to end Act 1, you have to start Act 2, you have to end Act 2, you have to start Act 3, and end Act 3 and start Act 4, and end Act 4 and start Act 5, and end Act 5 and start Act 6, and then end the show. And they're all on a timestamp. So that, the free-flowing, 7.5-page scene doesn't really exist. And I love the free-flowing 7.5-page scene. So I pitched that. And I really hope that at one point we do a serious one-shot. Like a 7.5-minute one-shot that everyone has to go off and rehearse like it's a play. And I think that would be, something like that. And a musical. I changed my mind. I didn't. Yes.
Instead of being Green Arrow, what other superhero would you be?
Can I play a villain?
Yes.
I don't know know which one it is, but it's gonna be bad. No, I don't know. I don't know. I get to play I got to do a little bit of that in Code 8, which is a lot of fun. But I don't know. I don't know. I've been so happy playing the Green Arrow because I think that playing a superhero that doesn't have superpowers, it's kind of empowering, if that makes sense. And I think I'd love to play a villain. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe make a new one. I think that'd be cool. If you could make a superhero, what superpower would you give him? To look through walls. So like X-ray vision?
Yeah.
I feel like that's an underutilized superpower, don't you? But would you use it for good or would you use it for bad? Good? Yeah, we'll see. Thank you. Yes.
My question for you is, what's your favorite scene that you ever got to do with Emily?
My favorite scene that I ever got to do with Emily? You know when she got shot in the limo?
I cried for like a week.
That scene. But let me tell you why. It's not a joke. I enjoyed doing that scene with Emily because it was 12 hours, and it was just her and I on set, and it was a Friday into a Saturday morning, and we're either chilling in the limo, or I'm laughing at her, she gets blood applied to her, or I'm figuring out a way to go through the partition to slide into the front seat and drive away. It wasn't a fun scene, but it was a fun scene to shoot, and we got to hang out. So, I can't actually think of another day where, actually, no, I can. Where just all day, it was just her and me, right? One scene, one thing to get. We had to get the beginning of it, we had to get the happy parts, we had to get the sad parts, we had to get the she might be dead parts, and just all in all, just a really fun day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any acting tips?
Any acting tips? Are you an aspiring actor?
I act at my school.
You act at your school? What have you been in?
I've been in 2 plays so far.
Cool. What plays?
I was in one called Sophie Smith's Christmas Wish, and then one called Jealousy Jane.
Cool. And are you playing leading roles or supporting roles?
My last play, I did one of the leading roles. Yeah.
Cool. Well, my first thing is that there's nothing wrong with supporting roles, because supporting roles teach you to do the most important thing that I think that you can do as an actor, which is listen. Right? That's the best thing that you can do, is listen. I once worked with someone and I wasn't sure that they were paying attention. So I had this one line, and based on the way that I said it, it could have been a statement or a question. And I didn't know if the person was listening. So I'd been saying it as a statement the entire time, and I just randomly on one take turned it into a question, and the person that I was working with didn't miss a beat and reacted to what I was saying. And then I said, oh, cool, this person's listening. And that made all the difference to me. I had confidence in them as a scene partner. So I know that when you're acting, especially when you're in a lead role, you work really hard on your lines and you work really hard on your performance, but it can't be set in stone or granite, as the case may be. You need to be able to be nimble on your feet. And if you listen, and if you ask questions, and if you are able to do something that requires a little bit of vanity, but not take yourself too seriously, then I think you'll have good fortune.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello. A lot of questions about Arrow have been asked, but I'd like to ask you a question about Knocking Point lines.
Sure.
Which is your favorite red and which is your favorite white?
My favorite red and my favorite white? It's difficult to not have my favorite be the Amelbeck. And man, my favorite white. Well, I like the blend that my daughter does every year. Our daughter does every year. Just because I just love her art direction on the labels, and also it's a really good wine.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. By the way, I have no idea how long I'm supposed to go. I'm just gonna keep going until Welling and Rosenbaum come up here. It'll be fine.
Hi.
Hi.
My question is, who's your best friend on the set?
My best friend on the set?
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah.
Probably Emily. Welcome. That's not gonna go well. Yes. Oh, that's last. Okay, we'll do one more just because I didn't know that was the last question. Let's make sure that we get one more good question and then I'll wrap it up. Okay. What's up, man?
What's up?
Better be good.
Well, as I know, Ryan Reynolds took the suits, his Deadpool suit home, so you can sneak it home too.
Oh, 100%. No.
Yeah.
No. I have a room set up that's under construction that's gonna showcase all this.
No. So you played a number of vigilante characters. You do it pretty well. Not to like typecast you or anything, but do you see yourself like trying out for any Marvel no power vigilante characters like Moon Knight or something like that in the future?
I don't know, man. I do know that I think that there's a negative connotation surrounding being typecast. What you want as an actor, and what this young gentleman that I just spoke to will tell you, is that the big thing that you can do as an actor is get work in the first place. So how do you get typecast? You get typecast because you get work, and you do something to the point that there's a distinction to it, and that distinction makes people identify you with that type of character. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. That's one of the reasons that it's time for me to move on, is because I want to get my hat back in the ring. And if that's a new character, if that's a Marvel character, if that's a DC character, if that's whatever, we will see. We will see. Hey, Orlando, thank you. I love you guys.